Okay, let's get going. First off, I want to welcome everybody to day 3 of the Ontario Football Mega Clinic, brought to you by Riddell Sports. Just a couple things. We have some great prizes to give away throughout the day provided by Riddell, so make sure you stick around for that. Today is a focus on offensive skills and systems, and we have a grand total of 7 OUA coaches who are prepared to share what they know about offense. Before we dive in, I just want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Aaron Giesler. I am the executive director at Ontario Football, and I'm super excited that we can bring the community together to talk football, especially in a time where we all really are craving football, and hopefully we're working hard to get us back onto the field, working with the government so that we can have a great fall and maybe even a little bit of summer of football. As we move into the really prime football season. So I'm really excited to start introduce our first speaker. Irv Daymond is the OC at the University of Toronto. Irv joined the U of T coaching staff in March of 2019 after 6 seasons as the offensive line coach with the Wilfrid Laurier Golden Hawks. Their coach was a part of coaching staff that led the Hawks to the league best record in 2016 and a Yates Cup win. A 2-time OUA All-Star and 1985 CIS All-Canadian while at student at Western. Daymond was selected in the 6th round of the CFL draft by the BC Lions. He moved on and played 10 seasons for the Ottawa Rough Riders, where he was twice named the Rough Rider Citizen of the Year, as well as being named the CFL East All-Star. Coach has also been a very active volunteer in his time at all levels of the sport. Notably, he has been the offensive line coach for Team Ontario and O-line coach for the Football Canada's U16 squad. Coach, I really appreciate you taking your time on a Saturday morning to talk O-line. I know this is your bread and butter, so without further ado, I'll let you take over and talk to big guys.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Appreciate everybody taking time out of their Saturdays to take a look at and talk some football. I just want to try to set the tempo from the meeting. And Aaron, can you see my screen?
Yeah, you're good.
So, yeah, this is just a 1-minute clip here. Actually, let me just try this again with the sound on. Okay, can you guys see my presentation here with the Toronto football slide?
No, not right now, Coach.
Okay, let me just try this again. How about now?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. Thank you for allowing me to indulge myself and watch those Ryan Jensen clips. It gets me fired up watching him knock people around. And my presentation here is going to try to focus on what we need to do to develop young offensive line athletes. There we go. Okay, so a little bit about me and what I try to bring to the table when I'm coaching is that I try to prioritize family, school, and football, making sure that they're taking care of the people that are closest to them, as well as their academic pursuits. And football comes in as a third priority. You can always factor in faith and financial. Sometimes those work their ways in, and respecting what people's priorities are. Principles of durability. Sometimes I refer to these as my 3 rules. The primary one is get your hands up. You want to initiate contact with your hands, and you want to protect your head. You do not want to initiate contact with your helmet. You want to play with a bend in your knees and your elbows at all times, which is to say that you don't want to allow your legs to lock straight or a bend to creep into your elbows. And the third rule or guideline is to protect yourself at all times. A little bit of a physics lesson, which I think are very important in offensive line play, especially the second law and third law. Second law sort of boils down to force equals mass times acceleration. And the third law sort of applies itself in pass protection or a stalemate, where when 2 objects interact, they apply forces to each other of equal magnitude in opposite direction. For an offensive lineman, their techniques are learned. And what I try to do is I try to reprogram an offensive lineman's nervous system. Now, when I got to the University of Toronto and I started with the reprogramming your nervous system, the kin guys recognized it as me with trying to instill general motor programs. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to leverage the instinctive fight, not so much the flight reaction that is instinctive to people, humans in general. I'm looking for efficiency and movement. I'm looking to generate leverage and power, always remembering that practice makes permanent. And with offensive line play, it's more of an evolution. And you just can't sort of snap your fingers and things go according to plan. And I put sandpaper in there because I'm always looking for an offensive lineman that has a little sandpaper in his game. Just a longer definition of a generalized motor program. It's the basis for generating movement sequences, sequence order, relative timing, and relative force. Absolute timing, absolute force, and effectors, which are stimulus. And once you chain these movements together, the relative times used to produce the elements in the sequence remain unchanged, but the absolute time is rescaled to meet the specific demands. So again, doing some of these footwork and body position drills in a manner that allows them to speed up and slow down where necessary, depending on the defender they're playing against. Again, as I travel around watching games, I hear a number of generic offensive line coaching points. You need to play lower, bend your knees, move your feet, knock them off the ball, stay between the quarterback and the defender, and be more aggressive. What I try to do with these drills is sort of help with those generic coaching points, give the kids movements that help develop that. So this first, I got some video here. What I usually start with is a walking lunge, a side lunge, and a bottom half squat. The coaching points that I really try to emphasize is have the kids know where their center of mass is. Their width of their base should be between inside and outside shoulder width. Stagger and base should be toe instep. Make sure their hands are up, their shoulders are back, and it helps to regulate and for them to be able to control the muscle contractions in their legs. So just let me switch my share here. Okay. See my screen here, Aaron?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so this is an example of one of the young men at the University of Toronto, Xander, demonstrating the walking lunge. He's got the ball up in front of him, his base shoulder width apart. We get the side view here. It, again, length of stride. If I go back a bit, his base starts to get a little bit narrow at the start before he reestablishes the width of his base. Again, what I'm looking for is as he puts that foot in the ground, and I want this stride to be long. Not that he's ever in the course of a game is going to be striding this long, but I want to make sure that we get a nice long stride, stretch the hip flexors, keep the wide base, and level your center of mass. Sorry, my straight lines aren't all that good. So it remains at a constant level. And you can see he shortens up on that stride. But again, the foot goes in the ground, the knee drives over the toe, and then you start the next sequence of the movement where you take the step. I also like where he has the ball, maybe a tad too high. Looking for the wrists to be just slightly above the elbows so that the hands are in between the collarbones and the diaphragm. And again, usually I'll have between 8 or 10 strides between each legs. A couple of jokers here doing the side lunges. Again, you can do this with a stagger in your base or with a parallel base. In this particular instance, I have these guys with a parallel base. You can range with the distance that you have them step. I tend to like to go 6 to 8 inches and then move my body over that leg and try to drive myself back. The key thing is as I come back, I want to make sure that my base comes back to shoulder width apart. You can see Garrison here doesn't bring the left foot back, and it is outside of outside shoulder width. Keeping their heads up and their eyes forward, ball's in a good position. I knew I might be using this film for video, so I had him turn halfway, and you can see how Garrison on the left here, as he steps forward, okay, and he bends at the waist. Vanessa here on the right steps a little bit more parallel and is able to keep his body upright more. What I also like to emphasize is pulling the shoulders back, being able to create that curvature in the spine so I keep my head up. Now, with all the hair on Vanessa's head, it sort of gives an optical illusion. A couple of guys doing the bottom half squats. Now, to me, they're both a little high. Again, they both can find a way to drop their hips, more flexion in the ankles in order to sink their butts. Ball's in a good spot, shoulders back. Quinn on the left could have his elbows a little tighter. And again, I should be talking about trying to create more angle here so that I can drop this down. Again, shoulders drawn back, a little bit too much forward fold with Dylan on the right. Okay, and the last of the three sequence is bottom half squat. So usually I'll do these right and left. Ideally, I'm looking for a toe instep stagger. The post foot should be perpendicular to the line of scrimmage. Now, the initial couple, you see that Vanessa comes standing straight up. This is not what I'm looking for. I want to come up and cap it so that I still have bend in my knees, bend in my ankles, bend in my hips. I don't want to completely unlock. Since he's in a left-handed stance, what I do like is how he loads up the post. He stays straight along his post side body, which is the right side of his body. There, you can see he finally figured it out. And he's working from that, what I call a bottom half range. We get the side angle. And again, pull those shoulders back, contract your rhomboids, try to keep your head and shoulders out of it. Hands are in a good spot. They're between the collarbones and the diaphragms, wrists just slightly above the elbows. You can see, in contrast, Garrison to the left might be getting a little lower, but he's getting more waist bend instead of being able to pull his shoulders back and just exclusively sink his tail. Moving on. I want to go back to here. Okay, so the next stage is what I call a triple go drill. So the reason why I call it triple go is because I go ready, go. And on the first go, you take a step. Second go, you take another step. Third go, you punch, it triggers your jam, and then take 2 more steps. So again, working out of a stance. I prefer a 2-point stance, but if you want to put your hand in the dirt, I'm not going to stop you. You're looking for a toe instep stagger, toe heel maximum. Base can range between inside and outside shoulder width. Heels of the hands should be on the tops of the knees. Hip flexor is the first muscle to trigger on the cadence signal. It dorsiflex your feet while stepping to minimize the air under your heel. Hands ratchet up, wrists above the elbows, 4 inches short of a triggered punch. Steps are ideally foot on foot, maintaining that toe instep stagger. So I got these 3 lines over here. This constitutes 1 yard, which would be 36 inches. So the middle line is 18 inches from the line of scrimmage and where the defender has to line up. So when the ball is pulled, the offensive guy should move 18 inches into the neutral zone. The defensive guy should move 18 inches into the neutral zone. Force equals mass times acceleration. We should be relative sizes. There should be a stalemate here at 18 inches. That's where first contact. So as I switch back to my video, okay, so again, you see Frank here is in a left-handed stance. He's got the heels of his hands on the tops of his knees. And again, so I give the ready, go, takes that first step. So in a left-handed stance, when I take that first step, it's going to be inherently longer than if I was stepping with my right foot. Now there's 4 different drills in this step sequence, and left-handed stance, stepping with your right foot forward, is one of them. Actually, it's the next one. Again, hands come up. Boom. What I'm looking for is the hands to be the furthest thing north. You can see that the gentleman to Frank's right doesn't have his hands up. Again, in my stance, if I just back it up here, this is the line of scrimmage. The nose of the football is right here. So I want to get as close to that vertical plane that comes up from the backside, from the nose of the football, as I possibly can. So you can see right here, Frank's got all the ball. And we're doing a pretty good job, except for number 4 in the line. It looks like he's almost 18 inches off the ball. The ball here should be 18 inches from the nose of the football. I want to take 2 steps and punch. Yes, I know he can, without stepping, he can reach out and punch the ball. But if he does that, he's going to be overextended. Offensive linemen need to remember to bring their feet. Ready, go. Go. Takes that second step. I give him the third go and delivers the punch. Again, I like it low to high, hand carriage. And again, I'm probably the only offensive line coach that talks about having your hands, instead of thumbs up, having them thumbs in. Now, I appreciate the biomechanical advantage of having thumbs up and elbows in, but to me, there's a disadvantage if a defender wants to try to get skinny and try to rip you as an offensive lineman, throwing his arm under your armpit, him getting to your chest. I believe that you want to keep your thumbs in to use them as barbs. So if a defender tries to turn his shoulders and get skinny, you can use your thumbs to snag part of his shoulder harness that covers his back and his chest. Now, again, a little bit of wind up here, and you can see as he leans into it. So again, I want this punch to be explosive, okay? But I got to be careful that I'm not generating too much momentum, that if this ball is all of a sudden taken away, that I don't end up becoming overextended. Again, 2 steps, punch. I'm not entirely liking where he finishes with his hands above his collarbones. He should be resetting those hands down. He needs to have bells and whistles going off in his head, signaling that his hands are out of the desired range, and try to work them back down. I see too many guys lose blocks because they grab the jersey and the jersey ends up over top of the defender's shoulder pads as he sinks his ass and rips underneath one side or the other. Okay, so we're in a left-handed stance, right foot. And actually, this is a skinny inside zone. You see the defender 18 inches off with the ball held against his chest is actually crotching Frank. So his left foot is right down the middle of Frank. So he's taking a skinny inside step with his right foot as he was with his left foot on the previous rep in order to square this up and deliver a 2-hand punch. Hands are up. And again, ideally across the board, hands are up in front of your face. Second step. And again, 2 more steps. Now, I want to be careful that I don't get on an angle. You can see his shoulders and his hips are on a slight angle. I want to try to stay square. And again, I want to try to keep the right toe covering the left heel. So a little bit too long a step on the 4th step with his left foot. Switches to a right-handed stance. And again, left foot, then right foot. So if I go back on this one, you can see that that first step comes to parallel. You know what I mean? Ideally, I like to see some of that right toe in that white line so that I get toe instep, so that I evenly space and I have as much lateral stability as I want forward and back stability. And that's what the toe instep stagger gives me. Okay, so the progression from the triple go is a 2-step punch. Okay, defender holds the med ball on his bag or on his bag on your chest. Sometimes they want to put their arms through the straps and put their arm. No. Hold the bag against your chest. 18 inches in the neutral zone. Triggering the punch. I want you to hold your body position for 1 second, and I call that an inventory at the end of the rep. You want to try to muscle memory where you are in your strongest body position. I put these 2 lines here. So again, if this is the offensive lineman in a right-handed stance, facing the defender with his 2 feet is crotching the offensive lineman. Again, facing this way, this is the line of scrimmage. Offensive lineman in a right-handed stance, this is foot on foot, or where he gets off his body alignment, but the right foot is on the defender's right foot. Okay, so this, cadence-wise, all I'm saying is ready, go. Now, what I do in the individual period when we're doing these drills is that I will vary the snap count so that I don't go on one each and every time. So that not only do they need to process the technique, but they need to be clued into what the stimulus is for when they start the movement. So again, to me, Garrison has one movement from the tops of his thighs up under the ball. I'm looking for the hands to come up, punch with that low to high, but not right from the tops of the knees. I'm looking for jab weight. Now, most offensive line coaches that you listen to at clinics like to run the double underhook. They prefer that. Myself, I prefer the up and then deliver the punch. It allows me to control how much power I'm putting into that punch. So you see that the first step gets down in front of, left foot gets in front of right. Now, unfortunately, he makes contact with his hands before that second foot gets in the ground. And you can see, since the second foot is that long, if he puts it in so it's toe instep, he's going to have much better timing. I need to be very careful that as I'm delivering a punch, I don't want to be overstriding or have space between my toe and my heel. Again, working through the sequence. Left-handed stance, right foot straight ahead. So again, this step needs to be inherently shorter so that I can get the second one in front of it. And you can see he's pressed his stagger to closer to toe heel to toe instep. Makes the degree of difficulty that much higher. You can see he makes contact again while the foot's in the air. Ideally, you want to be grounded as you're delivering your run punch. Right-handed stance, left foot straight ahead. And again, I like how he creates the inventory. The only thing I don't like is how his head is down. You see Frank, he's got his eyes up. Don't be looking in the ground. The ground's going to be green. Last one of the sequence, right-handed stance, right foot. Now, I talk about the hip flexor being the first muscle to fire. You can see that there's a lot of lean before that foot comes off the ground. The other thing I want to do is I want to dorsiflex that step. So I want to maximize the amount of bend, minimize the amount of plantar flex, the amount of force that I drive through my toe. The more force I drive through my toe, the higher the heel comes off, the higher the hip goes up, the higher my center of mass, the less leverage I have at point of contact. And again, Garrison trying to work the combo punch, not at the expense of the hand coming off the knee. Late. Again, too much stagger, keep your eyes up. Next progression, two-step, one-hand punch. So it's the next progression from the two-step. Off hand stays up, protecting against defenders' attempts to hold the double. Sequence of the 4 reps. And again, I just typed it out in case you guys are interested. Okay, so again, not every block in the University of Toronto run schemes are solo blocks. We like to run inside zone and a lot of double teams. Okay, so if I'm in the front side of the double, so if I'm in a left-handed stance, stepping with my left foot, and I got somebody that's lined up, head up, you can see his toes are matched. I want to take a skinny inside zone with my left foot. The reason why I pulled this one out is because Junior Mushtaba is a notorious huge stagger guy. He's been watching far too much of the NFL film. So again, skinny inside step with his left one, but ideally, I want to step this left foot in front of the right foot. With that much stagger, it makes it that much more difficult. So now there's a lot of space, and you can see how he lunges into that punch. And again, it's all about triangulation. How far is that target away? Where am I going to meet that defensive lineman if he comes straight off the ball? Now, with this, there's an imaginary backdoor buddy that's playing on Mushtaba's right that comes in and fits the backside of that double. Now, it's a two-step sequence, front side double, three-step sequence if you're backside in the double. Left-handed stance, right foot skinny inside zone. Way too big a step with his right foot. His left foot can't get in front of it. And you can see he's sensing something wrong because he's looking at the other guys going, why is this all screwed up? So again, he brings his right toe in a bit. So it's not quite as far, but it should be a stub step and carry to get that right foot in front of my left. Front side double. So I'm playing right guard, and I have a right tackle to my right, and we're playing the heads technique. Expecting the right tackle to get in there and fit it up on the backside. So I would like to see, as I fit this double, to have in the two-step sequence, Mushtaba's right foot up here. The right tackle is going to come down. He's going to go left, right, left. So his left foot is up in the double. Left hand, left foot for the right tackle. Right hand, right foot up for the right guard. Oh, I got a couple more here. So again, I wanted to show Xander here, even though his first step doesn't get in front, he's a little closer to it than Mushtaba was. And I think he gets better on the second and third here. Better job. See how that left foot gets in front of the right? Timing's a little better. Sorry, he does pull the trigger on the punch just a hair too soon. Stubby, since we're left-handed stance going to the right, stubby with the right foot, get that left foot in front. Split the defender in half. Again, don't want the arm to get locked straight. He should be ratcheting that back, shoulder come back in the joint, ready for the next punch delivery. Right-handed stance, left foot. A little bit too far extended. Got to cover just a little bit more ground. Again, doesn't quite get far enough with that first step. And again, I want to be patient. Hand comes up, second foot gets in the ground, then I pull the trigger. Bang, bang. Next progression, run-wise, I have the pointer drill next. So the emphasis here is first two steps are foot on foot. You want to expand your base after that second step to foot off foot when you're picking up slack to the second level. So this is a drill where you're climbing second level to linebacker. As you get close to your target, you want to return to foot on foot. And using Yogi Berra expression, you want to slow down without slowing down. Seems like it's deja vu all over again, but anyways, as you get to that point, you get the point, your base should expand in the direction of the point. Shoulders and hips should stay square. You want to trigger a combination punch and reset your hands as necessary. Little side angle here. Now you watch Mitch here, and he's equidistant. Each step matches. So first step isn't bad. Center parallel base. First step isn't bad. Second step's too long. And the reason why, it's easy just to sprint. You know what I mean? But what I want you to do is if there's a defender lined up in the gap to your right or to your left, I want you to go straight ahead to funnel or channel the defender. So if I sprint out of there, that defender's going to jump right into where you were. So I want to try to allow my adjacent offensive lineman to be able to move laterally to square up the defender in the gap. So again, even though there's no defender in front of him, I want him to slow down without slowing down so his adjacent lineman can fit the gap defender up. Now, I'm not a big fan. I come up, I get close to contact. I don't want to drop my hands. I want to keep my hands up. If this is a linebacker, you know what I mean? And he sees me carrying my pads high, he's going to sting me. He's going to step right across and hit me underneath the chin. If he sees me carrying my shit low, then he's going to try to get out of my way and elude. And this is where I want to change direction. And as you can see Mitch move to his left, he pulls the trigger with his left hand and then combos with his right. Got some rear shot. So again, off the get-go, hip flexor should be the first muscle to fire. I shouldn't see his butt raise and then lower. And you can see he raises. To me, and when I've talked to Mitch about this, that's where I want his ass to be in his stance. I don't want him to levitate to that level. Start at that level. Step almost too high. See how high that heel's off the ground. More dorsiflex as I keep that heel closer to the ground and my center of mass lower. You can see his hips are in this angle. It's pressed his center of mass up. And again, once he gets the point from the lead guy in the drill, he does a great job of not expanding his base to the left when he's trying to go right. The foot goes in the ground and he expands his right foot right. Base is shoulder width, delivers a right-left combo punch. And if I'm going right, I want to pull the trigger with the hand that has the first contact point closest to it. I don't want to reach across my body. Right-handed stance, left foot straight ahead. So again, I'm not a big fan of how his base expands right out of the stance. I prefer that foot to go straight ahead. Elbows tight, doing a better job of keeping my hands up as the defender declares. Okay, I just want to show you some of Big Vic. Not quite as fluid. You know what I mean? I don't want you to take 2 steps and stop. You can see he's got a little bit of a pause there. Lengthen up my strides. Now, as I change direction, you can see how that left foot collapses under him. subtly as he gets his body. I want to try to keep my center of mass between my feet. Don't get loaded up one side or the other. Then almost with a heel click. Finishes well. And again, at this point, I can expand. I don't need to go foot on foot as I climb to the linebacker. I want to pick the slack up, and then as I get closer to the linebacker, come under control, expecting him to jump one side or the other. Again, progressing the drill, so we get the front side double with the pointer drill. So the defender can be head up with skinny inside zone step as the first step, or he can be offset and I could go straight ahead. It offhand stays up to protect against the defender trying to hold the double. Again, front side guy in the double has a 2-step into the double fit, backside buddy, 3 steps into a double fit. Sorry, this is a side view of the pointer drill. And again, first 2 steps, foot on foot. Lengthen them out. Come back under control, and away you go. Now, what I really like about this drill is how Grizz finishes. Okay, once he makes contact, I prefer the elbows to be tighter, but he creates separation, then he resets his hands, gets him back down underneath his collarbones. Foot on foot, lengthen out the stride, come back under control. Okay, so left-handed stance, left foot straight ahead. I have the defender lined up in the gap, just shading Grizz subtly. Comes off the ball, front side of the double, 1, 2. Now this is where this hand needs to be up. He needs to be protecting this left edge of his shoulder harness if the defensive lineman wants to reach across and hold the double. I like the way his right hand is up. I want to be straight along the right side of my side body so that my adjacent defender could fit this up. After 1.5 yards, 2 yards, the defender gives way, comes off the drill, finds the linebacker. And again, I'm not a big fan of the deli slicer hands. Keep your hands up. Make contact, sink the hips, again, and work those hands back down. Again, Grizz's inventory could be a lot lower, and we've discussed that. Left-handed stance, right foot straight ahead. And again, this is ideally how I want to have it, is crotching. Okay, so again, if Grizz is playing left guard and there's a left tackle, we're running inside zone to the right and he's front side double. If this is the nose and I got the will lined up over here, we're running the double. Probably should have the linebacker more stacked. What I do like is he's reasonably straight, as straight as my line could be, down the left side body. The heel of the hand is backed up by the shoulder, backed up by the hip. Elbows rolled in to create an edge, a piece for the tackle to come in and fit that double. Once the defender rolls out, and again, Mustafa's given a good look, find the linebacker. Linebacker jumps out of my way. Stay engaged. Excuse me. Right-handed stance, left foot straight ahead. And again, trying to overcome this existing general motor program. What Grizz is doing right now is natural. He's counterbalancing this force with this off hand. He needs to take a little off of this hand to keep this hand up to protect himself, because he's screwed as he's driving this defensive lineman. If he snakes this right hand in and grabs him, he goes to get to the linebacker. Defensive lineman's holding the double. He ain't never going to get the linebacker. Linebacker's going to be a free hitter. And again, deli slice your hands that low, not good. Not good. Get your hands out in front of you. Right-handed stance, right foot straight ahead. So this one, I wanted to make sure, I want to try to keep my left foot up in the double. So again, I talked about front side guide 2 steps. Right, left, maintain that left foot high. Left foot high. If I get my right foot high and I'm coming off on the double, my shoulders and hips have a tendency to be turned to my left. If I have my left foot high, it makes for a much easier disengagement when the adjacent lineman takes over the double, so I can get off and get the linebacker. Nice wide base. Again, too much life in Grizz's legs. I really don't want to see the sole of your shoe. I want to see the more dorsiflex, less plantar flex. Now, again, I can't argue with the pace of his steps. Okay, switching gears here. Let me just over to pass. Okay, starting with the quick set. Again, hip flexor. First muscle that fires, picking up the foot. Want to minimize the plantar flex. In this drill, I want the tightest set possible. Your imaginary defender's alignment is covering part of your body. You need to ratchet the hands up right away. And again, the sequence. So again, I line them up, left-handed stance. I got the left foot on the line, and I want to see the left foot just off the line. I want the hands up, head up, eyes up, and you can see Garrison still looking at his feet. You can see Mustaba behind, he's got his head and eyes up. That's more what I'm looking for. Side view, Big Vic. So his left foot's still on the line, left-handed stance, nice tight kick. So as I'm in my stance, I want my head and eyes up. Eyes up. Right-handed stance. Nice tight. Usually I do 3 in the sequence. For these, I've only done 1. Lucas, first time, right-handed stance. You can see he's got little or no stagger in his base. Ratchet the ball up. And again, I want to try to contract my rhomboids and pull my shoulders back. This is more of a run posture. I want to see more of this as I squeeze my mid-back rhomboids and pull my shoulders back. Posting. Left-handed stance, I want to post. Stay heavy on the post. Next sequence is kick slide. Now, ideally, when I kick slide, this is a good contrast. You can see on the first one, Xander's weight gets out over his left leg. I want to move to my left, but stay heavy on my right. Be straight along my right side body. Second rep, he does a better job. Kicks to his left and stays heavier along his right side body. And again, let me just skip through a couple of these. Post slide. And again, Vanessa does a pretty good job engaging his mid-back. He's got his shoulders back, head and eyes up. Nice fold, wrists above the elbows. Okay, so the third in the sequence, kick, post, slide. Do it out of a right-handed and left-handed stance. Okay. I just want to keep moving ahead in the film instead of going to the slides here. So this drill here is, actually, I probably should do the slide for this one. Okay, so I call this is on and off pass. You want to keep, and this is the perpendicular to the line of scrimmage. You can use one or two kick slides to move laterally. You want to stay loaded on the post with your shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. Your departure angle for the pass set can be 5 to 15 degrees for a guard, 10 to 25 degrees for a tackle. Okay, so if this is my tackle, he's lined up here, and I'm in a right-handed stance. If I'm kick sliding out to a wide defender who runs what I call a bubble rush. And again, I'm sort of alone in this. I don't see a lot of other offensive line coaches. They just say, keep on kicking. Myself, after that second kick slide, there's diminishing returns. And I want to try to get on a shaft. So it looks like from here, sorry about that. Let me go back. From this point to here is like a hockey stick. Okay, the shaft, the heel, and the blade. Shaft, heel, and the blade if I'm in a left-handed stance kicking out. You want 10 touches on the line, 10 touches off the line. Inside, outside shoulder width is what I'm really emphasizing here. And you want to flip your hips at 5 yards. So I always talk about the geometry of a pass set and the variables and how I can vary the steepness of this blade of the hockey stick. And I included a protractor because I often refer to, I'm going to get my damn protractor out. Big moose here. And again, about a yard, 2.5 feet from that line. I want him to kick slide, get to the line at a 5 to 10 or 5 to 15 degree angle. Now, ideally, his first kick is bigger than his second kick. You can see the first kick is about 6 inches. The second kick is about 10 inches. He makes that up with the second foot. Now, as he goes back, he's on and off the line. Again, shoulders should be pulled back. And he's got too much life in his legs. You see how far he's stepping off that line. Keep it nice and tight, working inside and outside shoulder width. At 5 yards, 20 touches. You want to flip your hips. Again, if the defender, so again, the defender's lined up here. He kick slides out. The defender bubble rushes, tries to come around the corner over the top. I want to flip my hips at 5 and try to bring this right hand and collision him on his side body, his hip, to try to force him to crash and burn. Out of a right-handed stance, and again, controlling the contraction. Flip your hips. And when I talk about it, it's like falling off the mound. The next progression is to take the on and off out. Oh. Side view, the on and off. Oh, so this is parallel to the line of scrimmage where I'm posting down the line. And you can see there's a seam there. So what Quinn wants to do is this left toe goes on the line, off the line. Trying to work toe instep and toe heel. You can see as he's going, he starts to ride high. Now he sinks his tail. Do this lower. And it becomes harder because I want to keep my center of mass at the same level. So I compress the amount of room. So all the bend has to happen between the ankle, knee, and the hip joints as I pick up the slack. So this is where I want to minimize the plantar flex and increase the dorsiflex so that I can play lower. Coming back the other way. And again, I think I'm over time, so I want to try to, so this is a hockey stick set without the on and off. So again, this is medium speed. So the coaching point here is in order to take myself back on the shaft of the hockey stick, I don't want to reach with my left foot. I want to pump with my up foot. And at 5 yards, flip my hips. And what I characterize the ball's coming off too high. It should be coming waist high. If it ends up bouncing, I don't need to see him catch it. I'm okay with that. And I want to be like a pitcher coming off the mound. So if a fastball gets hit back at me, I'm ready to continue to play. Plus, a lot of these defensive linemen can get off the ball real quick. I just wanted to show up my boy Vic here, struggling first rep we got on film. You can see how he shifts his weight over his left. And then he slides his inside foot. So this is a slide kick. I discourage slide kick and prefer a kick slide or a drive catch in LaCharles Bentley terms. Want to stay heavier over that right leg. And you can see how far he's reaching with that left in order to get back. Flipping the hips at the top. Xander does a pretty good job. Again, you can see his shoulders are rolled in front. Should be pulling those bad boys back instead of more of a run posture here. And again, when the ball comes out, I want it diaphragm to waist, not at chest height. That's where I'm going to collision that defender coming over the top. Variation with one post. So you can see kicks. So this is one kick to the line, back on the shaft, post off the shaft, kick back to the shaft, flip my hips at the end. Side view, ball just a little bit too low and a little too close to him. Get that ball more out in front. And the hip flip at the end. Okay, this is a posting drill. I'll speed it up here just a little bit. Now what I'm looking for is I want to be as straight as possible on that right side body. So this foot comes up. I don't want to reach with that foot. I don't want to risk that foot getting outside of my side body where I might get stepped on or step on somebody's foot. I want to own that space. I want to be able to bleed out a little bit with that the back foot. So you can see how that foot comes up. Now in this drill, again, I want to be able to have my hands so that if I go to one side of my body, my hand does not cross the midpoint so that I can keep my shoulders square. The other thing is you see Big Mustafa, he's got a little bit of jump. You can see his center mass is doing this. I want to try to level the center mass and have all the movement occur from the waist down, all with the under rigging. Coming back the other way, got Vanessa in front. Now again, it's not a race, and you can see how Vanessa's cookie cutter. I want to be able to vary this as I progress the drill. vary how far and how short I take those steps. Next progression is we go 2 down, 1 back. Post slide, kick slide. Post slide, kick slide. Ball moves to which side of my body. And again, you see Vanessa, a D-line convert, hands in a great position, body in a great position. Can he be a little lower? Yeah, you know what I mean? But that's the evolution of an offensive lineman. Has he got a little bit too much spring in his step? Yes. You know what I'm saying? You can see how he's on the balls of his foot. And again, he's trying to dampen, but again, that step is way too high. Got to keep it closer to the ground. Dragging that back foot. Varying the length of that step. Okay, punch and crunch. So again, working the timing of my pass punch, okay, and the body posture. So again, I got the guy crunching, throws it up chest height. I want to trigger my punch, reset my hands, or reset my feet. Punch, reset my feet, jam, and you can see how Xander's feet. Punch, left, right. Back it comes. Punch, left, right. Sorry, that was right, left that time, as he alternates.
Coach, I hate to have to cut you off, but we do have 2 questions. I do want to get to them real quick, if that's okay. The first is, how heavy are the med balls, Coach?
Sorry about that. I hit the mute. I keep them light. They're 6 pounds. We got the 8, 10s up to the 22s. You know what I mean? I wanted, it's more muscle memory, keeping the hands up in front of you. You know what I mean? For the younger guys, you know what I mean? I like the size of the ball and the contours. That's why I'm a big fan of the med ball, and it helps with hands, with your hands being in this type of position. You know what I mean? With the thumbs in. I know a lot of coaches thumbs up and the double underhook. You know what I mean? I'm not sold on this. You know what I mean? I can do with range. You know what I mean? I don't want to completely, because there are times when I want to punch like that. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I want hand carriage in this range, one slightly higher and one slightly extended.
So, and the second question we had, Coach, was what's the best work to rest ratio for the drills and the sequences?
Well, you can tell. You know what I mean? It depends on the conditioning level of your guys. You know what I'm saying? So if it's real hot, you know what I mean? And some of those under 16 day practices that we have in the middle of July, you know what I mean? You got to monitor your guys on how much you can do with them, you know, in the course of a week. And typically I like to have 3 guys minimum when I do it. 1 guy working, 1 guy servicing, 1 guy resting. You know what I mean? And we can get a pretty steady roll that way. If I only have 2 guys and some guys showing and guys working, it wears them out a little bit. So, you know, it always got to read your guys. And I always tell them, you know what I mean? This stuff, if you need to stretch, you feel something cramping up, you know what I mean? Step away. You know what I mean? The tempo with the drill is based on how fast you want to do it and demand quality looks from the guys that are giving you the show.
That's great, Coach. If coaches have questions for you, are they able to send questions through?
Yes. Let me just get back to. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Screen and share it with my email address. Don't hesitate to reach out, guys. Always willing to talk football, especially offensive line play. Thank you very much, Aaron. It much appreciated for the opportunity to share some of my experience, and I hope you guys found something that you might be able to take away.
Coach, we always love hearing you talk O-line. Hopefully we can do it again sometime soon. Keep safe, and hopefully we see you on the field soon.
Thank you.